All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of War Robots Frontiers. This is Xbox Series X edition. As always, I'm your host, Real Ted Tugs 444. And let's just get right into it because you know, we started off a little slow, but you know, I'm having a little bit of hope that later in the rankings, these players will be a little more fast paced. But for now, we're just gonna deal with it how we deal with it because it's working and nice little tear down between me and the teammate working on that, guys. You can see they've cracked my shield, and I'm gonna continue to try to work on him, even though my shield's broken. And if I backed out for half a dozen to a dozen seconds, I'd have some decent shield, and wouldn't have lost all that health on my modules. However, I'm taking most of the attention of the enemies. Teammates are able to do a little bit if they are. That one on the corner that we were kind of blocking the shots of a little bit, that one was definitely helping. So, applause to that. Uh, we're going to get back in there. We got another machine. This one is actually my favorite machine of the ones I had currently built at the time. It's still pretty much up there because it is the highest level one. I got my guns like level 10, and the torso, the legs, the shoulders. Those are like level 8 too, all around. So, give or take one or two levels depending on the module, because they're not all ranked up yet. I'm progressively building up my stuff. You know, a good deal on the store here, good deal on the store there, and we capitalize. As always. Making a nice push here. You can see the team kind of getting past that bridge, which means they're willing to entertain the enemy territory. They may or may not control it very well, or, you know, um, they may not have a lot of presence, or they may have a lot of presence in that side of the map. But teammate is kind of showing up, which is cool. Help the teammate get rid of that one right there. That teammate requests some fire, and I decide, heck yeah, why not? Probably shouldn't have took my eyes off him in the first place, besides the fact that you should kind of evaluate your situation in your scenario, excuse me. Alright, we're starting to get a bit tore up here. Doesn't really seem to be much team support. As you can see, there's no other real projectiles being sent towards the enemies. And oh, we chipped away at that one though before it was too late. That's nice. That's nice. That's a good impact change for the team. And as last man standing mode, that does get rid of one of the machines out of all the machines you got to face. So, and also if you do well enough and get rid of their machines fast enough, they don't even get their titans. So I don't understand what people want to sit around and wait for, because you could still get your titan by eliminating their machines. I don't know why you're sitting around and letting them get their Titan as an enemy, or, a player on a team. But that's why I said things in the beginning. Like, I kind of hope that later in the ranks, when I get higher in the leagues than the gold that I'm at, which I think I'm really only getting to gold because I'm kind of like leveling up my machines, and they're starting to break out of that. Well, this is where all the level 1 pieces and guns end up, because I'm no longer brand new to the game. But currently, in this season, I'm at gold. I'm trying to get further, but I'm kind of stuck. Kind of stuck right on gold and silver. So I'm either gonna have to work on my machines a little bit, or figure out a way to play the game that doesn't ruin my chance, because I don't want to sit around and wait for my team to get me points. I want to be out here earning myself points, even, earning other people points, even, because I can earn myself points. But with the way that I play, It's just too aggressive. It's too willing to take on the challenge, you know. And there's not a lot of other players like that, so I end up in like 1v5s, you know, trying to do what I can do, getting as many points as I can throughout it. Maybe look, that teammate's starting to help, so that's pretty cool. I notice he's starting to get flanked, so we trade positions, keep some of the enemy disrupted, disoriented if we can even. Look at that. I'm going to lose my shield, and then that left arm is going to blow up, so I got to protect that. He comes running from under the bridge. I'm surrounded. I got to find a way out of there, or else I'm going to lose that arm. We got that left arm on the side of that hill if we can. We see some shots downrange that we could help teammate with, but it's a little too late for the helping the teammate part. And we start to get terrorized here. Got a couple things that are just going to chew up that left arm once they break that shield. But I tried to hold my ground, you know, tried to make impact while being alive, because that's more important than being alive to make impact when you're requested or given the opportunity to. You know, you guys gotta learn to take opportunities. You can't wait for a teammate to allow you to do what you think you're doing. You're not doing anything. You're doing what the teammate allowed you to do. You're doing what an enemy allowed you to do. Now, if you outbeat the enemies, outskill, outposition, outplay, yeah, you certainly did, right? But if you're just taking the by defaults that the game is itself, that's not really winning. That was a poor use of that beam, by the way, but it did use up all of that guy's boost, even though he starts recharging, because the way he jumped, it was already going to be recharging by the time he reached. See how it starts recharging before I reach the ground? But he's still just sticking around, so it doesn't really matter. The little bit of fuel that he did gain himself without a actual fuel resupply um, ability isn't going to be enough to get away from the real threat, which is that other teammate chasing him down. And, you know, the more impact damaging bullets that mine do definitely are going to change how defendable the enemy is for themselves. Like, see how that guy's full shield, full health? I'm gonna hit him with a little bit of this, and if I wasn't hit by that other machine on the top of the hill, it would have did pretty good right there. But we start to get surrounded, as you usually do, especially if you're willing to play in the enemy territory, or even, you know, further than the rest of the team is willing to push. You'll actually do pretty good, you know. Um, it's not always like, you'll see, like I get pretty good games. I might not do as good as I could do, but that's because I know it's situational, right? I may make mistakes, but I can realize my mistakes and I can improve on that, right? But for my argue, like my thing is if I can create a solid foundation of you know, baseline behavior, or you know, I'll then I'm solid. You know, I'm gonna be okay. I could pretty much with no matter with any team, I'm gonna be able to play my game. It may be good, it may be bad. That's just the chances of the game. But situationally, I'm not gonna penalize myself even if I get last place. Why? Because the team was a bunch of jagoffs. You know, they didn't really care about anybody but themselves, you know, look for their own points, didn't actually want to. That's why I quit pushing here at the end, you know. I quit playing the game because we were already winning. I'm not going to help the enemies sit around and do the nothing. I already did my part. I did enough to make sure I'm winning the game that I'm trying to win. I didn't sit around and wait for it, right? And now we're at a point where I can sit back and comfortably play the game like they have been the whole time. And guess what? Even if my teammates start to lose the numbers, I can try to pick up the slack. But if you ask me, I'm not going to go out there, play the game for them just so they can get even more of the benefits that they've been getting from me doing their job for them. And then me not even getting to finish out the match or play or get my Titan because they want to keep sacrificing teammates. instead of actually participating. But you know, like I said, some games you're gonna have players where that you know, actually are willing to help impact the game, and some games you're gonna have players in your game that just got impact points because the game doesn't stay the same. You know, and obviously 5, 6 people sitting around doing nothing was 5, 6 people sitting around doing nothing. And maybe some of them did a little more nothing or a little less nothing than the other, but you know, you're not going to have 0 impact points because you actually did, the game didn't stay, you know, it didn't stay the same, right? There was a point A, you know, there was a starting point, and then there was an outcome, and there was a whole bunch of stuff in that, a whole bunch of stuff that happened in between, right? So, you know, people want to get caught up on this, what the rewards board says, or, you know, and that's the thing, man. Too many people are playing selfishly. Too many people are looking out for their gain instead of the overall gain. Because what, like, I don't agree with I don't agree with a lot of the social system norms, okay? But society is what actually evolves man, the individual. Waiting for the team to approach the enemies, they're not really doing it, but um, just because they're not really approaching the enemies doesn't mean I can't participate. You know, peeking over this wall. Oh, looks like they're starting to change focus a little bit. Working him a little bit, working him a little bit. Ah, they got me. See what I mean, though? All these players in the game, but you never really see anybody playing with you. You know, so I don't understand it. You know, games like this, and it's why I quit playing World of Tanks. You just don't have anybody actually wanting to play the game anymore. They just want to pretend to have the fraudulent rewards position that says they're the best at the game when they know they didn't even play the game. When, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and act like, because a lot of my first place positions, some of them are free. You guys just do so little that it's really not hard to get first place after you guys collectively share the doing nothing together, you know, maybe a little more or less, right? But it's not, I know why my first place are free even when they're not. I know how easy it is to actually outdo you guys, even as the first one dead. The first, you know, you guys can have you could think you're doing good with your first machine. I'll lose all 5 of mine, not even get my Titan, and know I'll be at the top of the board before the end of it. And I got matches like that, and it really is just a matter of the players not really wanting to participate. So all them points I got in the beginning that made actual difference, made an actual impact to the outcome, even though it's just even though it's just me making sure the game didn't stay the same, because sometimes that's really all it is. It's just creating opportunity where no one else will, and then allowing that opportunity to be shared by everybody because you were willing to make that opportunity happen. You were willing to create that opportunity. So, you know, teamwork is noticed whether people want to give you credit for it or not, right? And enemy behavior is noticed whether they meant it or not. If you learn anything from this episode, maybe you could take that away from it. Because that's the thing, to me, in my opinion, that's the thing about these team-based, skill-based multiplayer games. You know, you guys are actively trying to see how bad you can make the team do while still winning, just so you can pretend to be doing the most by the end of it. And that's what's ruining your games, a lot of your games, whether you're trying to be pro level good or not, or just there for casual fun. You know, maybe you're doing one or the other at different times, but either way, your gaming's fucking ruined because of people like that.